Well, now, shortly before we came on air, I spoke with the Ukip leader, Nigel Farage. He's right now giving a speech in Basingstoke. And I began by asking him for his perspective on Friday's events and what he thinks the problem is.
Part of it's the internet, and I know that's tough to deal with, but a big part of it is Saudi Arabia funding extremism in our mosques, in our country, and that I think we should deal with.
But of course the compromise with Saudi is that we sell a great deal of material to them, including weapons. There are a large number of British jobs dependent upon it. Are you prepared to face the economic consequences of dealing with that?
The idea that Saudi Arabia is an ally of ours in this struggle, I think is misguided and misplaced. Do you know, Saudi Arabia have said they won't take a single migrant or refugee from war-torn Syria or elsewhere. Why? They say that it would upset the balance of their society, and yet they're perfectly happy to fund the building of 200 new mosques in Germany.
Now, tonight, President Hollande has said that France has declared war on ISIS, and it's a war that France will win. Is it a war that Britain is prepared to wage, and do you support the idea of bombing ISIS?
To actually beat ISIS militarily, we will not do it just by bombing in one country or another. If there was a big grand strategy that said we're serious about militarily beating ISIS, I then could be persuaded to support military action.
Now, the other thing that Mr. Hollande has made very clear tonight is that France will continue to take refugees, will continue to take asylum seekers. He said we must give shelter to those who genuinely need it.
I cannot think of a better reason for Britain now divorcing herself from the European Union than on this issue. It is perfectly clear. The warnings have been there for all to see. We've seen warnings from Libyan cabinet ministers, from Jordanian cabinet ministers. ISIS themselves have said for months now they will use the crisis to flood the continent with their jihadi fighters. And we're not sure yet, but it looks like 2, perhaps even 3 of those people who committed those foul atrocities in Paris perhaps came in via a Greek island as recently as last month. We have no means of checking the backgrounds of anybody. I am not blind to the suffering of many, many people. I'm all for us helping them in their countries, in the camps in Jordan and Turkey and whatever else. But to blindly go on, as Mr. Juncker and Mr. Hollande wants to do, with effectively an open-door policy to terrorism is complete and utter madness.
So you are abandoning the historic British moral standard of bringing in people in need who included the Farages long ago.
I've said for a long time that I thought the Christians in Syria and Iraq, because of their religion and because of direct persecution, did qualify very much under any traditional measure of being refugees. If we are going to take in other refugees into Britain, we better make sure we've done our homework. And I have to say that the Prime Minister's approach is not foolproof, but it's a lot better than Monsieur Hollande's.